Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now, today's first story comes from the Relationship Advice subreddit from a throwaway account and says, my partner 36 female threw away my 38 male grandma's secret recipe, and I can't forgive her. My partner and I have been living together for 3 years now, and everything has been great until recently. Sadly, my grandma passed away a few years ago, and before she did, she gave me her family recipe book. This was filled with secret family recipes that she trusted me with. I love cooking and absolutely loved my grandma's meals, so this book means a lot to me. The other day I was looking for a recipe in the book to make one of my grandma's special meals, but to my surprise the page with the recipe was gone. I searched everywhere and found out that my partner had thrown it away thinking the recipe was wrong. She said she didn't know the recipe book was from my grandma and assumed it was just some old notebook or whatever. I was really upset. She didn't ask me before throwing away something that meant a lot to me. It wasn't just a recipe. It had been a piece of my family's history. I tried to explain how important it was, but she didn't care and said I could find another recipe online and that I'm overreacting. I'm struggling to move forward from this. Her being so dismissive of my feelings upsets me. I've never seen her behave this way before. How can I move past this? Edit. Thank you for all your comments. They were really helpful, especially since I started to think I was overreacting. I appreciate the reassurance. She threw away a rum cake recipe. I have no idea why. She liked it when she tasted it before, so the recipe wasn't wrong as she claims. I haven't talked to her for almost 2 days. She's at work now. I'll probably have a conversation with her later when she gets home. I'm so sad and confused. I don't understand why she would want to hurt me like this. Everything was going well between us and we hadn't argued in weeks, so I'm not sure why she would want to take revenge on me. Now, the question that instantly jumped into my mind was why? Why did she throw it away like that? Because I'm not buying the excuse of it was just an old notebook so I'll throw it away or whatever. It feels like there was something more there. But then when you tried explaining how important it was, she didn't care and told you that you're overreacting, dismissing your feelings on the matter. I know for a fact if, a partner came up to me and I had thrown away something, even if it was, completely a mistake, and they told me how important it was, I would be devastated that I had done that, not dismissing their feelings on the matter. So again, it's telling me there's more to this. But for yourself, OP, like you're asking yourself, how do you move past this? How do you trust someone again? Obviously, it'd be interesting to know the actual reason. And obviously, I don't know the full ins and outs, but assuming there's something more there, how do you move past that? It's something I always question myself. I don't believe that I could. So the first and top comment on this one from Hats and Topcoat says, she's lying. Icy says she randomly threw away one page from an entire book of recipes because she thought it was wrong. What? Is she a cooking instructor? An expert in that particular dish? Was the dish named something offensive or include sauteed panda? Her explanation makes no sense and she hasn't apologized for throwing out something that wasn't hers, which is objectively wrong. I'm not sure you should get past this until you get more information from her. Her explanation is really weak. Personal Regular says, why do you want to move past this? Her answer is questionable at best. Seems far more likely she was jealous or having feelings about your love for the recipe. Her being unapologetic is a big red flag. I'd be devastated if I did something like this accidentally. I'm so sorry. A good therapist can help determine if this relationship truly serves your needs or not. You deserve a soft life full of love and a partner who contributes meaningfully to that. You are worthy. Positive Ad says this sounds really strange. She left an entire recipe book except for that one page. Is it possible she accidentally spilled something on that page, ruining it, and is trying to cover her tracks? It's just weird to me because if she were trying to be spiteful, she would have tossed the entire book instead of admitting to tossing one page because it was wrong. It's a flimsy, lame excuse. Has she done anything like this before? One more comment from Snoo Pets, who says she's lying. I think she got upset with you at some point in the past and ripped it out to spite you. And now that tempers are cooled, she doesn't want to take responsibility, so she is coming up with something less vindictive. Except it's ridiculous and makes no sense. PSA for folks with similar special books or documents. Get copies made or transcriptions, or what I do since I'm lazy, take pictures of each page. It would be ideal if the original could be kept in use, but having backups is the safest way to ensure it survives through the years. So, OP came in with her update and said, "Hello fellow Redditors, I hope you're all doing well. Just wanted to give you an update on the situation I mentioned earlier. Thank you for your advice and support. Your words have been really helpful during this tough time. Since my last post, I talked to my partner about what happened. It turns out she threw away the recipe not because she thought it was wrong, but because she was jealous of my cooking skills. At first, she denied any bad intentions and tried to downplay the importance of the recipe book. But as we talked more, she finally admitted feeling jealous and insecure. It was surprising because I had never seen this side of her before. She said she's always been a little insecure about her own cooking skills. I had no idea. She feels like I outshine her in the kitchen, her words, especially after receiving all the compliments from her family last time we hung out. So in a fit of jealousy, she decided to throw away the recipe, thinking it would somehow even the score. Needless to say, I was hurt and disappointed. I couldn't understand why she would let her jealousy get the best of her and intentionally hurt me. We'd always supported and uplifted each other in our relationship, so this behavior was completely out of character. She apologized and promised to work on her insecurities and jealousy, but honestly, I don't think I can forgive her and move on from this. Once again, I wanted to say thank you for all your support and advice." And that was OP's last action on this post. There was no more comments, nothing like that. And I think that the relationship is pretty much over. If I was in that, I would always be thinking, if they're willing to do that once, they're willing to do that again. Of course, people can change and people absolutely do change, but it wouldn't be a risk that I'd be willing to take. She intentionally destroyed something irreplaceable to hurt you because she was jealous. And she threw away that recipe to somehow even the score because you outshine her in the kitchen, like in some weird ass logic that's going to make her a better cook or something like that. Which we know that's just not the case. She's just jealous and she wants to hurt you in the most immature way she can. And she did. There's no coming back from that from me. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. And our next story does have an update, but before we do get into it, I want to give you a couple of warnings just in case you want to skip the story. It might be the last story of the video, so just give you that warning. Check the timestamps as always. But it does contain emotional manipulation and late pregnancy loss as well. So if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. And this one's from Best Science 8354 and says, "My ex-husband just admitted he still loves me and I have no idea what to do. This is so surreal. I'm living a fantasy I've had 1,000,001 times and I don't know if I want it anymore. This is a long story that no one will read and I don't blame you, but typing it out might help me understand how I'm feeling here. We got married young, 19 and 22, with basically a shotgun wedding. Carried for 8 months just for it to end in a stillbirth. And he was there for me and he cared. And it felt like we fell in love after we got married and things were good. He wasn't controlling, he believed in me, motivated me to do more and more. Go to school, get a degree, become a nurse, all that. He even paid for a good chunk of it himself. Like most of it when he wasn't even making good money yet. The bedroom took some time to really figure out, but once it was mastered, it was mastered. He never tried to get me to have a kid again either. He was perfect, and he grew into being perfect, which just made me love him more. What we had felt so loving and good, like, wow, I really just stumbled my way into this from a casual friends with benefits to an amazing life and husband. And it stayed that good for a long time. Then I hit 30 and things started to change. It was little things like little comments he'd make about how young we were when we met, how we went straight into making the marriage work and school and apprenticeships. how we never really got to be young, even though I think 30 is pretty damn young, and he started to go out with his friends more, but not like before. Before, they would come over and play video games or barbecue or something and chill out, but then he started going out, and he just started having more fun without me, I guess. And then it got worse. He sat me down and brought up the topic of an open marriage, more freedom for exploration, and everything he couldn't do before me basically, and I said no. He said he wasn't sure he wanted to continue with what we had, and it all crumbled from there. He just decided he didn't want to be married anymore. To be clear, he divorced me. He didn't cheat on me, but it was motivated by the fact that he wanted to. His words. It was a bad divorce, but honestly, only emotionally. I felt blindsided and horrible and just begged for him to stay. He even said I would do the open marriage after all, which he declined. He said it wouldn't be real if I didn't want it. And thank God he did that because it's true. Because he was a good person through the whole thing. He just was. He gave me our house that I paid a fraction for because he wanted to make it up for me for him wasting my youth or something. Youth became such a big talking point, man. I don't know. He offered alimony, which I should have taken him up on, but I didn't because I felt bad, and I didn't actually need it. But the point is, he divorced me, blamed me for nothing, and was kind. I couldn't even hate him. He wanted to stay friends. I didn't because I was still in love with him, so we landed on friendly. No blocking, follow each other on social media. No words to either side of the family, but we don't talk. Except the twice yearly Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas texts. The divorce was final in January 2019, and I thought that was that. I didn't date throughout 2019 and 2020. I couldn't for obvious reasons. Same for 2021, just focusing on not freaking dying. But I did meet someone in 2022, and we've been dating for almost 2 years in February. It's nice, easy, he's divorced too. Neither of us want to get married again and it just works. We were even talking about moving in together eventually. And then X calls. From his mum's phone no less. I'd stayed close to her, not super close but like a call twice a month and send an actually gifts for the holidays. So I picked up with the usual, "Hi Judy, how are you?" And it was him. We hadn't talked in nearly 5 years and then bam, there you go. Ex-husband suddenly is desperate to see me. He said that we really needed to talk and asked if he could come by. He could even bring his mum if I was uncomfortable with just him. And I said yes, but to bring his mum. Now at this point, full on I thought one of them was dying. Mostly thought it was him and that he wanted to make amends or something, because nothing else would explain the suddenness. He came over to the house with his mum as promised, but he looked fine. They both did, which made me so much more confused. But I let them in and waited for him to say something. It was the most awkward 45 seconds of my life, until his mum elbowed him and said, "I'm not going to do this for another year. Tell her I'll be in the other room." Which, am I crazy, or again, does that make it sound like he's dying? And she left for the kitchen and left us in the hall. And he just started word vomiting. I don't know what else to call it. Like, I'll type out what he said coherently, but I want to make it clear it did not come out this clean. Being young and dumb didn't matter when I wasn't with him. He thought he'd be happy to have full freedom to do whatever he wanted, and he was for a while. He traveled, met people, dated, but it always felt wrong. And he knew he regretted the divorce years ago, but didn't want to bother me after he broke everything apart. For fucking nothing, apparently. He said his friends were in his ear, always talking about marriage and how it slowed them down, and he listened despite the fact that I never tried to stop him from doing what he wanted. He still loved me, and he wanted me back, and he never really stopped. He would talk about it year after year after year to his family, and his mum told him what I had told her, about the idea of moving in with a boyfriend, and it triggered the hell out of him. And that's how he ended up on my doorstep. I felt like I was in a damn movie, except the music didn't swell and I didn't have the magical moment of the love of my life and I getting back together and it all worked out. I just felt confused and angry, and told him this was all too much to drop on me out of nowhere and to leave, but I'd call him. So now I'm here, still confused, still angry, but now I have to figure out how to tell my boyfriend about this. I would not be leaving him in the dark, but what the hell, man? If you love me so damn much, why did you leave? Why were you so insistent that you had to be with other people? You know I'm seeing someone. You could have tried this for years when I was single. Why now? Why? I feel so suspicious and weird, and I don't know if I believe him, but at the same time, I still have never loved someone in the way I loved him. Is it insane to think that what we had did matter to him? Is that delusional? Or did he just have a midlife crisis and regrets it? I don't fucking know. I just don't. You know what song popped into my head? I was only listening to it the other day. It was Passenger and Let Her Go. You only know your lover when you let her go. But Action Jackson says, this is bullshit. Even if it was an honest mistake on his part and he treated you well and was consensual, at the end of the day, he still made the decision to divorce you. That is a long and painful process, so you have to really make it happen. It's not a menial decision. I think that will always be between you. You're both looking for the relationship you had, but you already buried that relationship with court proceedings. It will be different this time around. I'm sorry you're going through this and hope whatever decision you make makes you happy. And one more comment is this long one from Snarf, who says, it sounds like he went looking for something and didn't find it. He invited you along for the journey in a way unacceptable to you. Open relationship, and then decided to pursue it without you. Divorce. He lost a lot giving up your relationship, and the thought of what he would find might have sustained him. Maybe he thought what he was missing and all the things he has with you and what he was seeking. I could see how it feels like other relationships do not stack up to the one he had with you when, 1, the two of you formed an intense bond after marriage and significant loss, and 2, any relationship he had is not going to stack up to the 10 to 11 years of emotions and experiences you two built together. You two have been split up for 5 years, making him about 34. I'm curious how his friends are now, whether they're the same friends or not. Is he overwhelmingly socializing people in couples or with families? Is he seeing his social circles shrink and his friends pursue the life milestones he did far earlier? What is the importance he places on youth now? Is he willing to stick it out with a partner who will change and age as he is? How would you feel growing older next to him as he grows older? And to me, I'm not sure if it's the case, but it just kind of felt like when I was reading it that he was going out with some friends and, you know, they're all single, living the good life, and, you know, he's potentially jealous of that and wanted some of that lifestyle and was seeking it. And when all the divorce happened and his friends all started settling down, you know, basically reversing the roles between them, he didn't like it anymore and missed what he had. But OP came in to update the post and said, well, the height of the dramatics are over. I think it went well as it could have, but I told my boyfriend everything that happened. He wasn't happy, but he wasn't mad at me or anything. I think it helped that X's mum had been there and we weren't just alone hanging out, but we talked a lot. A lot. Spoiler, we're not breaking up over this. And you know what? I love my boyfriend, and maybe it's not as intense as what I had with my ex-husband, but that took years to get to. It wasn't overnight either. I think it also helped that my boyfriend is divorced too. And when I asked what he would do in my shoes, he had a lot to say. So we both agreed I'm going to see and talk to X about it. He said that if it was him, he'd want to tell his ex face to face that it was over. So I text the ex. And to be clear, I wasn't vague about what was going to happen with him. The direct text, which my boyfriend saw, read, "Hey," his name. Obviously, we need to talk about everything that happened the other day, but I want to be clear that we won't be getting back together no matter how the conversation goes. Knowing that, you still want to see me. And he did. So we set up a time and place, public. And again, boyfriend is aware of all of this and is fine with it. But he did want to come with me. Not like inside where we were meeting, but drove me over and waited in the car. And I know that could sound weird or bad, but I feel like it makes sense. He's being so calm and collected about this whole thing. I think he just wants to stay in the loop. So, not a red flag to me. Anyway, I went and we met up at a park, with boyfriend having direct eye line to the bench we were on, and we talked. It was a lot, of course. It was a lot. I'd always have love for him, but the window to that life closed years ago. He cried, apologized for crying, and it hurt a lot to see, and I felt so fucking bad. I don't want to sound awful like I don't take my relationship seriously, but for a second there I just wanted to kiss him and tell him everything would be okay. But I didn't, because that would be dumb as hell, and it's time to move on. But the talk was hard, and I'm a little worried he's hanging on to some hope because it ended on a weird note. He asked if things would be different if I was single, which obviously I feel like he thought that question made some kind of point that I'm not seeing. I told him the truth that, yeah, it would be. That my boyfriend was the top reason why I wasn't going to be exploring this. He asked what could happen if we ever broke up, and I said that wasn't really a healthy road to go down. But I swear that made him perk up a little. I don't know, maybe he took it wrong. Maybe I'm reading into it wrong. But I don't think I have to worry about him pining away from me considering the circumstances of why we aren't together. I gave him a hug before leaving and that was that. It's still over. Obviously, I told my boyfriend everything, even the weirdness at the end, which he didn't love. But he was fine with me keeping him unblocked. But did say he wanted to be told if he ever reached out again, which is completely fine by me. Like the code to my phone is open and he's welcome in any time. I think it helped a lot. Like, I don't know y'all, he was so damn mature about the whole thing. It was really eye-opening to how much I appreciate what we have. He's very different from my ex, more reserved and quiet but sweet, and he can still communicate. He just chooses his words and actions very carefully. And that's the kind of thing I need. Stability. I deserve that. I'm still a little worried about the ex though, considering everything I learned and how it ended. But I did my part. I'm not going to cut either of them off yet, because they are really good people. There is only so much I can write in a Reddit story, but I don't hate him for a reason, even though he emotionally fucked me over bad. And especially his mum. She's a freaking angel. And I think after this she won't bring it up again. And if he starts popping up or something from her end, then I'll do the hard work to cut her off. But that's it. It wasn't the big fairy tale ending I dreamed of, but the nice quiet life I made for myself is still intact. And I'm glad that OP is moving on, not getting back together, all that kind of thing. There's a part of me which I'm not sure if it's going to be controversial or not. I think OP should be blocking that ex, because at the end there I was getting some bad vibes reading it, that saying that him perking up that if you did break up that there was a chance that you'll get back together. So I sort of wonder, is he sort of like holding on to that hope? And this next part, I very much know it's the Reddit brain talking that he could potentially try to sabotage things or something like that, I know that's very much Reddit brain talk and it might not happen at all, but popped in the old noggin there. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.